use code AJ10 for money off your caramel bicky ISO-Pro.
Please do, because I've got no other code to offer you anyway.
Yeah.
Lean by any means. Good morning, everybody. How are we all doing? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to Wednesday the 16th, I think, of July. AJ, do you not want to say hello at the start of the video?
Oh, hello.
It's a bit rude to just leave and not.
Hello, good morning, welcome to the vlog. Why is it all blurry? I mean,
It's because of the looming light.
Ah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all.
Enjoy, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Right. So in today's video, we are going to go through rest day. It is going to be quite different to the last rest day that you've seen because a decent amount has changed, which I talked about in the last video at the end when I did my check-in. I was like, I'll update you on what happens. And essentially we made some decent changes. This is now going to be what's probably like the final push of this diet, basically the final couple of weeks of this diet, because I was literally just having a conversation with AJ there saying how like I do find dieting very easy and very enjoyable. Like if I had to, I could just keep going. I could keep going. I could probably compete again this year if I had to. Like I don't mind dieting, especially once I get into it. I really enjoy it, but it's not the goal. It's not a goal at all. I don't need to get leaner than is necessary. I don't need to get past a point of body fat that is not going to be productive for gym performance or for health or anything like that. And I want to make improvements. So you always have to have a bit of a line drawn when you do fat loss phases, especially in off-season. You kind of want to make them as efficient as possible. I am doing a photo shoot, so I do want to make sure that I look like relatively decent at that point, but that's going to be a while after the diet anyway. And it just aligns out really that we're just going to cap this off when AJ finishes his prep as well, which will be not this weekend, but next weekend. Usually for me, when I start to eat up anyway, my body weight doesn't really move for a decent period of time. So that will kind of be the goal. But anyway, things have changed. That's the main point. We've decided to push, in a way, push the deficit a bit more over these next couple of weeks, but we haven't really actually made main change to calories. But what we have done is we have really changed my layout of the day. So anyone who's followed any of my full days of eating before or my routine, you'll know that I have been in the routine for a decent bit of time, just having like 4 meals, which honestly works fine. I'm getting 4 MPS spikes. My digestion's fine across the day, especially when my food's not super high. And it was generally working okay, like no issues. But the reality is I was like, you know what, I feel as though I can make more out of my MPS spikes across the day and my protein intake and just favour a bit more towards that, because I do think that 4 protein feedings is okay, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it. But as a bodybuilder, I do feel as though I can see what I can gain from having slightly higher protein, slightly more frequent protein feedings, and spiking MPS more. And if I can digest that and it doesn't cause any issues, and I actually have already felt improvements in like performance and like muscle fullness, then I'm gonna roll with it. So what we're doing now is I'm having 6 protein feedings per day on a rest day, the way that looks. So for today, that looks like having an extra meal in the day, which is really easy to do because I was having quite a big gap in between my meal 3 and my meal 4, and literally just starting the day with a shake. So like it's 4:30 now, we've got 30 grams of whey isolate here, and this is probably the biggest change that really helps because I was waking up at like 4. So I wake up at 4, come downstairs 4:30, and I wasn't having my first meal until honestly some days like 7, 7:30, 8, and that is like 4.5 hours in the morning of me just not having a protein feeding. So essentially we've restructured my macros so that my protein is higher, but then my carbs and fats are also lower. So today I have 6 protein feedings. My fats are still at, I believe, 50 grams, but I have 40 grams of carbs, which literally just come in the form of my fruits and veg across the day. There is no like direct carbohydrates in my diet. I'm sure I'll talk you through things as we get through the day as well. Don't want this intro to be too long. I'm going to have my whey shake. I'm also going to have my Fibrilize and my creatine. and then I will do a 30-minute walk to start the day, go through some check-in notes, then we'll start by going through check-ins as always. To be very specific, it's now 19 minutes past 5. I've sat down, so I've done my morning walk, I've banked in about 4,000 steps. Whilst I was on that walk, I will make notes on my check-ins, so my clients will always check in either via voice note or just filling out the check-in sheets. So I'll either listen to those and make notes, or I'll look through the sheets and I'll make notes on kind of the main points, and then I can sit down at my desk now and I can basically crack straight on with the check-ins, having the main notes there, and then I'll obviously go through their sheets with any of their other data, go through their form clips, go through their progress pictures, and then be able to feedback to everyone from here. So this is where I now start my first check-in block of the morning. I will run this block up until around 7, so it's about a 2-hour check-in block that I will do here. Honestly, it kind of depends on when AJ comes downstairs, especially because he is now 4 days out, I think. So he takes priority with the schedule. So whenever he comes down, then I will make my first meal. We'll run through things there. I'll go on a little walk after that as well. And if the weather's not disgusting, I will go outside. So hopefully we can go out for a walk and actually see some different scenery. And I will then run you through obviously the rest of the day from there. But for now, I'm going to crack on with this work, and I will then run you all through my meal number 1 and plan for today. Hey Nisha, good morning. Thank you very, very much for your check-in for this week. I hope that everything is all good with you, and I do hope you're having a wonderful Wednesday so far. Process after your prep, and we were talking about your off season and kind of saying how, you know, it was really important to you that you did have those aspects of like flexibility and such. And it's nice to see you having been able to exert that so well, even within a fat loss phase in off season, which is really important and something that you can and absolutely should be able to do, as you just proven to yourself. So it's been a really, really good week since we've got back. We've already seen a nice, good shift already. Visually as well, I'm really happy with your shots. Some of the best shots we've seen, where you are definitely starting to look a good bit leaner now, but also just seeing a lot of the improvements that you made as well, which is really exciting. The rest of July, next few weeks, bish bash bosh, finish this phase off, because I don't want you spending too long in it, but you know, we're setting a really, really good runway for the next growing phase ahead. More challenging week, like, let's be honest, it's been a good week. Week's been great, fat loss has been great, execution's been great, but in terms of how you felt, it's started to feel a bit more difficult at this point. And I'm not surprised, because you have seen a good shift this week. You do look a good bit leaner. You definitely look a little bit flatter. We are due devolume, and as we've mapped out in the timeline at this point, when you got to 9 weeks out, wanted us to run a devol, and we will stick to that, because I know if I don't run you with those devolumes, it goes downhill pretty fast, right? Oh, almost bang on. It's nearly now 7 a.m. and we are both about to consume our first meal of the day. I'll still say this is my first meal because I've had a shake this morning, but it's not a meal, it's just a protein feeding. So this meal does not change. I don't think this meal will actually ever really change for myself. I think there's maybe been one point in time where I've had like cream of rice or oats or something in this meal. Actually, we did beef for a while. Do you remember we did beef?
Yeah.
Yes. But I always like to keep this just protein, fat, fruit or veg. I mean, obviously right now I don't have the carbohydrates to facilitate any in this meal, but even so, I like to keep this without a huge amount of carbs, just because I do think there are benefits with like focus and managing blood glucose. So even though I'm waking up now and I'm having like that protein feeding, I wouldn't personally ever want to wake up and eat a meal straight away, because I think that's when people do struggle with their digestion and they start to feel a little bit sluggish, or they have even issues with just like focus and stuff like that, even hunger and satiety to an extent. So the first meal is as pretty much always, but the protein amount in some of these meals has changed a touch. So my overall protein is a bit higher, but because I'm having 6 feedings, I'm basically having 6 feedings of 30 grams of protein. So we've got 30 grams of whey, 175 grams of raspberries, and then I will have some fats with this meal. So we'll have 20 grams of the phenomenal cup and nut smooth almond butter. So that will be meal number 1. Eat this now, and then I will finish off the rest of my check-ins for the day. I'll go on a walk, and then I actually think I'm going to go to Meadowhall today, which is a wonderful treat.
Big day out.
So big day out, yeah. So you can join me on my big day out. I'm sure that will be tremendous. So yeah, we'll eat this now. We'll enjoy this. I'm having my normal cinnamon naughty boy way. I think it's called cinnamon bun or something. Cinnamon swirl. I don't know. That's amazing. AJ, however, is about to try the maple pecan creamy, which was recommended in the last video to try the the maple pecan pancake flavour in the naughty boy way that I really enjoy. I've got one to have this evening. So something tells me that this lighting setup right now is probably not doing me any favours, but I am out now just on my second walk of the day. We are outdoors. We're on a nice little walking path that I do have near my house. I'm very fortunate to live in an area that does have some nice walking paths nearby, so I like to take advantage of that when I can do. Obviously in the morning I do use the treadmill because at 4 a.m. I don't really want to go out in the dark, even though I live in a pretty safe area. I don't really want to be going outside walking in the dark with a head torch. I'll just stay inside, and like I say, that also gives me the ability to do some work whilst I'm walking, because this second walk that I do now, obviously if I have any messages to get back to, I do get back to those, any like voice notes that I can do, but I generally actually try to just take 20-30 minutes to just either listen to a podcast, or I just don't listen to anything. Like I just literally have my headphones on or off, and I listen to like the birds and the sheep, and I just walk and have headspace. And I think that that is something that's really good to have, and I've struggled with that a lot in the past, is like just being silent and just being present, where, you know, normally when I'm doing things, I'm a very, very proactive person. I like to be busy, I like to keep my mind occupied, and it's to the point where like I'd be doing, you know, jobs in the house, and it's like I always need to have my headphones on, always need to be listening to something, always need to be doing something or learning or listening to a podcast or whatever it may be. And I think it's actually really good to sometimes just sit or just be quiet and just be present with your thoughts, and just kind of slow down a little bit. And I always try and take that time at the start of my days, before I even dive into my work, when I do my journaling, but also at other points in the days as well. I think it's very, very important as well. So I'm just racking up some more steps now, but I'm also just on a walk. And I always say that when, sorry, I just sort my hair out. I always say that when I do steps, it's like, yeah, you're doing steps, but you're also just walking, like going for a nice walk, getting some movement in, simplify it a little bit. I think that's important, and be present with the work, and don't just like live in numbers, you know, like be actually present with what you're doing. But after this I will be on about 8,000 steps, so it'll be about 8 a.m. once I finish this walk. I'll be on about 8,000 steps. I do at the moment 16,000 steps a day. That is where my current output is. So I will then finish off my next block of work. I will probably do some more steps. I will have my next meal, and then depending on where we're at with time, I might record a podcast today so that I have one to go for next week, because obviously I am away this weekend at PCA Coventry. So I need to make sure that I have got my podcast ready to go for next weekend, because I always film those in advance of the day. But overall, just as a little update for you all, I am feeling generally really good. Like, I know I've obviously touched on this new setup that I'm running at the moment, but I'm really enjoying it. Like, I feel good. I actually hit a new low today, which you'll see my macros for today, which I think I've already mentioned at the start, but I've got 150, no, I haven't got 150, I've got 40 carb, 50 protein, 190 protein. But yesterday, for my leg day, which is basically like a bit of a higher day, I had 150 grams of carbs, 40 fat, 190 protein. So actually, I've got a bit more food in on a leg day, and I actually still saw my weight drop today, which usually I actually see my weight go up after legs. So that's a positive sign that my body is really liking this setup at the moment. And usually I find that like some form of layout in my diet where I do have like one day of slightly higher food and then some days where they're a bit maybe lower, it just works out really well. And yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm enjoying it, as I said at the start. So nothing else to report really. It's quite simple. It's like in a lot of ways the setup has changed, but nothing's really changed. And you can't freak out when changes are even made to the plan. Like, and for me especially, I like to change things. I like to try certain things because it's a big part of me learning as a coach, is trialing different things out and seeing what works, seeing what doesn't work, seeing what I like, seeing how things feel, you know, like seeing how things feel for my clients. And that was a big thing that I learned in my prep last year was, yeah, my prep wasn't maybe super conventional. You know, I lost over 40 pounds in one go, which for somebody of my body weight, when you're 100 pounds on stage, is that optimal? No, it's not. But I personally enjoy the challenge of that, and it helps me to know how it feels when you are having to push hard for a prep. And you know, if ever my clients get to a point where they are having to push hard, even if they're not, you know, having to lose that amount of body weight in one go, it's like I know how it feels, and I know that you can have a positive outlook and a strong mentality even throughout that, because I did that last year, and I lead by example with a lot of things that I do, and I think that's very important, and it's a big part of my why within bodybuilding as well. But anyway, I'm going to enjoy soaking up some sunshine this morning, and then I will see you all when I get back. I'm going to stop doing that because I've realised I do that after every clip, is I say like, oh, I'll see you later. Obviously I'm going to see you later, it's right now for you guys. So yeah, gonna finish this walk now. Alright, so you'll be pleased to know that I'm not actually going to stand on the treadmill here and eat this meal. I'm just coming into a quiet space so I can yap away without again bothering AJ. So my second meal is actually, I think it's the same as it, yeah, it's the same as it was in my last rest day, but it's looking pretty dire today because I have run out of my usual salad arrangements that I would put on here. So we've just got some really sad wet lettuce with a little bit of kimchi and a tiny bit of salsa that I had left over. 125 grams of chicken with some dash seasoning on it, which is really nice. I think it's like lemon and something. I'll show you later, but it's really nice. Got that seasoning on it, salt, pepper, and then here I've got 20 grams of dark chocolate. So this is the meal number 2. This is pretty much the same. The main thing that's going to change now is I've got another protein feeding next, which I'm going to take with me when I go to Meadowhall, because I'm going to eat this now. I'm on like 12,000 steps. I've done a podcast, all my check-ins are done. Eat this now, head to Meadowhall, grab a coffee, do some shopping because I've got some shopping to do, which I'll talk you through when we get there. And then I will have my meal 3 when I'm at Meadowhall. So I'll run you through that when we do get there, but for now, munch this up and then we will get off. Alright then guys, we are just headed out now to Meadowhall. I feel like it's a monumental occasion that I'm actually wearing white. I've got white top on, blue flares, which is rare, but I'm trying really hard to not just wear black all the time. I like wearing black all the time. I feel like black is actually my colour, but I also want to wear other colours and be a bit more vibrant. So I'm trying. I'm making an effort, and I'm going to make myself feel a bit more comfortable and confident with doing so. I don't know if anyone else is like that, but like 99.9% of my wardrobe is black. And then I also can't find anything, which is very annoying because it all just blends together. And it's usually just a default because I hate having to pick what to wear. You probably watch these videos and you're like, Loz, you've worn that same outfit. Obviously I wash it, but I do wear the same things on repeat because I like them and they work, and I also don't need to buy loads of clothes unnecessarily if I'm not going to wear them. But speaking of which, I am going to Meadowhall to buy some clothes because we are going to Marbella. By we, I mean myself and AJ. You guys might come along if I film some bits. But we are going to Marbella in August. We're going to Marbella in the middle of August, which AJ kind of surprised me with as a bit of a gift. Anyone will know, like, when you get maybe a bit deep into prep, or your partner does, like, they start to maybe want to like give back and like plan things and go away. So he kind of surprised me with a trip to Marbella. We're going for 6 days, I think, in the middle of August, and I am so excited because myself and AJ have not ever been on like a summer holiday. We've actually never had a holiday together where we've like been for a trip for us. Every time we go away, and we're so fortunate for this, but we obviously go away for work, really, for bodybuilding shows. So the last time and the only time that we've ever like really taken a trip for us and to also like have any time off work was in 2021. So the last time that we took any time off work and any time to just be on holiday together was December 2021, when we went to New York for New Year's for 3 days. So I'm really looking forward to this time away, just me and him, and for us to be honestly like boyfriend and girlfriend together and like actually just, you know, go on holiday and spend time with one another. It'll be really nice and really good for us both to also have refresh after what's ultimately been like, you know, 2 very like amazing but long years of, you know, me being in prep, him being in prep, really busy with work. We'll obviously be picking up with the season even more so from like the end of August, so it just serves nicely for us to have, you know, some nice downtime with one another, which is definitely needed. And honestly, I'm just excited to have that summer holiday. So because I've not been on a summer holiday since, like, you know, a holiday with like sun since, honestly I don't know, 2019, I think. Yeah, 2019, which is when I like finished school in 2019. So as a result, I don't have any holiday clothes, which is not great. So I basically need to go and buy some, because honestly my wardrobe is tracksuits, MBW, gym clothes, leggings. That's basically it. So I need to sort that out. So that's why we're going to Meadowhall today, and just to get out of the house. I always like to try and get out of the house on a rest day, even if it's just normally I go to Starbucks and I'll sit and I'll read for a little bit, which is probably one of my favourite tasks because it just keeps me busy. I love reading, I really do. I think it's one of the best things that you can do for just kind of like keeping your mind occupied and busy and switching off. And I don't think about bodybuilding, I'm not thinking about food, I'm not thinking about work, anything like that. I've just recently finished Onyx Storm, which was an experience, that's what I have to say. But now the good thing is that I can move back onto ACOTAR, because I read ACOTAR, the first one obviously, and then I was like halfway through it, and for some reason I think I started it when I was in prep, and because I was in prep, right, I couldn't get through some of the scenes, which we'll all know. Obviously a lot of it's like very romantic and stuff as well, and like I just couldn't do it, because when I'm in prep, like I actually feel a bit ill with stuff like that, which it's so bad, but it's just physiologically the way that prep makes some people and makes me anyway. I've been rambling on for 7 minutes now. We're gonna head to Meadowhall. You've all probably switched off, and I'm sure I'll maybe catch you with some bits when I get in there, when I have a coffee. When I have something to eat, I'll either come back to the car to eat, depends what time it is, and we will follow up from there.
There you go, thank you.
the car now. I'm not gonna lie, I am exhausted from that. Shopping is an absolute task and a half, especially when you have to go in the changing rooms, try things on, maneuver around, you're hot, you're sweaty, you're flustered. This is why I do online shopping for the most part and rarely ever go into shops. But the problem is, as many of you guys will know who also train, it's very, 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 very hard to determine what clothes actually fit or not as a trained individual, because sometimes you will be a small, sometimes you will be a large, sometimes you might be an extra large, and sometimes things look like they're going to fit, and then you're like, oh wait, even for myself, even though I'm not actually big, like I still have some muscle, you know, so it's like certain things just don't fit how they're supposed to fit. But it's been a successful trip. It's been very successful. I went to Sephora, got some things that I needed. I went to Bershka, got some clothes to do the job for the trip, and I went to Office and got some sandals, because all I also own is like, well, I own trainers and Jordans. Well, Jordans are trainers, but that's it. So I feel more confident now, and I'm very much ready to eat my next meal. So what have we got? We've got 30 grams of whey in this cute little Tupperware, which I purchased from Tesco when we went to Wigan, and it's worked out really nicely for like putting whey in, making that into a little paste while I'm out. We've also got 150 grams of raspberries, which I've just bought from M&S, because I didn't want to bring frozen ones and then they melt and then they go disgusting. So we've got raspberries here, and then I've also got 10 grams of dark chocolate here. So that is the meal. These are actually 180 grams, but I will just remove 30 grams of raspberries from a meal later on, so it's no problems. And there we have it, and some water to hydrate, because obviously I had some water whilst I was in there, but I am in need of a cold beverage. That's so nice. So yeah, I'm gonna sit, gonna eat this now, and then I will head back home. Protein feeding number 5, meal number 4 is ready. What have we got here? We have got 100 grams of smoked wild salmon. We've got 1 egg, we've got some salad, we've got some salsa, we've got some kimchi. So for this meal, the addition that I've got in here is I've got an egg here. I previously was just doing salmon with this meal, but to actually make this 30 grams total quality protein, popped an egg in, pulled some fats out from my last meal, so that's why I did 10 grams of chocolate in that last meal. And we also just had some eggs that needed eating, because I bought some for AJ, because I thought we needed something, I actually didn't, so I was like, well, may as well have them, pop them into my diet. Also good to have a variety of always protein feedings and fat sources. So I'm actually really excited for this, because I do really like eggs, I really like salmon. Absolutely beautiful combination. So what we do not have in this meal anymore, which had probably the last time we saw rest day, was 40 grams of rice cakes. So previously I had some rice cakes with this meal. I also had some rice cakes with my meal 5, which you'll see I do not have in place anymore, because we have subbed that out in favour of some more protein instead. And honestly, even though I've not got fats in place, I've got fats in place. I've not got direct carbs in place, like no rice cakes or anything like that. You lot will know, I've said before on this channel, and I don't lie, I love my pro-fat veggie fruit meals. They're my favourite meals. I could eat this diet always, no issues. Wouldn't be great for performance. We need some carbohydrates for performance and recovery, but on a rest day especially, no issues whatsoever. I'd like to, maybe if I was being picky, I'd probably put some more fats in for like a sustainable diet, but I really don't mind these meals whatsoever. I really enjoy them, and I find that especially having the higher protein intake is actually really satiating, and obviously just making sure that I am eating like every 2 to 3 hours, as opposed to having some slightly bigger gaps that I was maybe having beforehand. So in order to stay in time with that, I'm going to have this now, because it's currently 20 to 4, and then we usually prepare our last meal at about 5:30, ready to eat that around 5:45, and then in bed by 7. So gonna go eat this now, and then of course we shall run through the final and best meal of the day. I have returned to the kitchen a few hours later now for meal number 5, feeding number 6, final meal of the day. And we've got the maple pecan pancake creamy, which is actually the correct creamy because last night I...
Don't get me started. Honestly, do not even remind me. Don't bother.
I got the creamies confused and I was very tired, and basically all we need to know now is that I've got the right creamy, and it's a new one. I'm excited to try it. One of my wonderful subscribers on the last couple of episodes, Sean, commented to tell me to try this. AJ had it this morning, said it was very good, so I'm going to have it now. So I'll make this now. It's going to be very loud, and then we'll run through the meal when it's actually prepared. Final meal of the day is now prepared. We've got past all of the noise, and I'm actually on time today.
What do you mean? We're always on time.
No, like you're normally waiting for me to finish, and I'm usually the last in the room, and I'm actually ready ahead of time, which is quite impressive. Usually AJ's ready before me, but either which way, what have we got here? We have got 30 grams of whey. I'm just about to put my cinnamon on this. 30 grams of whey in the format of the creamy, as always. So we have got that maple pecan pancake, and I'm doing a really bad job with that. And I did do a little taste test when I made the creamy, and it was very, very nice. So we're having that with some cinnamon, and then we are also having. Oh, 1 second. Sorry.
Sorry, I've got multiple cinnamons, babe.
We're also having some raspberries, and 150 grams raspberries, 20 grams of dark chocolate as well. Been loving the M&S dark chocolate recently. It's been great.
It's a banger.
It's so good. We generally have Bear Hunt. I'll show you which one we have. I think I showed this in the last video with the food order, but M&S 100% absolute banger. If you can get to M&S or order avocado, absolutely tremendous. I think it's quite new because I've been ordering avocado for ages, and we only actually found this when we went in store, and now I've found avocado, which is fantastic. So this is the final meal of the day. Obviously, as I say, just another protein feeding, some fats, some fruit, gets the job done. Honestly, as I said, with having this protein intake, eating regularly, having good spacing of your meals, spacing your meals out well, keeping your meals satiating, having like your fruit, having your veg, having your structure, like, yeah, you're hungry for the meal, but you're not ravenous, you're not absolutely starving. I've had literally basically six meals today, so I'm all good. I'm feeling great, and I'm actually really enjoying this setup. So we're now going to go and have this meal. We've got the final episode of Quarterback to watch, which we've been really loving the NFL content at the moment. If anyone likes NFL, I definitely recommend watching. Quarterback's good, but Swamp Kings is definitely and receiver, yeah. I'd say Swamp Kings though is probably my favourite. And we watched something, I've forgotten the name of it, but it was actually on, was it on Apple? Yeah, it was on Apple, and it was about the New England Patriots and Tom Brady, and it was so good. I've forgotten the name, I'm gonna have to find it, but that was mega as well. If anyone has got any requests of things to watch, definitely leave them in the comments below, because I'm always open and interested. I am obviously going to be watching This Summer I Turned Pretty, because the new season actually came out today. First episode, but they release episodes like every week, which is great, but it's also like, it's a bit annoying. You kind of just want to watch it all in one go. But I've not had a chance to watch it now anyway. So to be fair, when I next get a chance to watch it, it will probably be when they've all come out. So any requests, let me know. I'm going to eat this meal, then I'm going to head to bed, and then we'll probably catch up, most likely in a couple of days' time, and we'll break down the food, the setup, other things with the plans, any other final points that I need to add. But for now, good night, and I would say have a great rest of your night, but I need to remember, real time for you guys. I'll see you probably literally imminently in a few seconds. Hello everyone, good morning. You join me on Thursday now, so tomorrow, the next day, Thursday the 17th, it's 9 a.m. I've just finished my Thursday check-ins and I'm just about to go and get myself ready to go and train up today, which I'm very excited for. But I wanted to touch on obviously yesterday and just kind of break down obviously yesterday's plan, the rationale again for yesterday, but give you actually some insight of how that can be reflected within your own process as well. So just to kind of confirm for you all, yesterday's diet, which you can see now on here, if I can, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this to focus. So those are the macros, the calories total for yesterday. So it was 1,427 calories in total. A pretty simple day, really. I ended up doing about 18,000 steps yesterday as well because it was a long one. And my weight was actually still the same this morning, which often is actually the case for me. So I need to try and get this back in line. That'll have to do. Often is the case for me sometimes after like bigger days where maybe the deficit's more intense and I do more movement. I don't see that fat loss like actualize itself until I have a day where I actually back off. So those days of maybe being in a more assertive deficit are still valuable, even though you're not maybe seeing the scale weight drop instantaneously, because you're not always going to see that trend in scale weight be entirely linear, especially when so many different things impact your scale weight. But what you will find is that maybe then once you do have the days of backing off, which I think is why when I had slightly higher food on my leg day the other day, and I obviously maybe moved a bit less, my weight actually dropped a bit more. That's where you just kind of understand your own trends and you look at the wider trend of scale weight, and you also then pay attention to feedback in terms of the visuals, how you're feeling, how you're looking, how's training going, to make decisions, not just make a decision day by day. And that's something I have to always make very clear to clients is, yes, in a prep setting especially, we will check in quite frequently, but it's not a case of, oh, woken up today, my weight's not dropped today. I've woken up today, my weight's up today. We need to make a change. We probably don't. We need to look at things from more of a macro view, especially if you're working with individuals who maybe do have very fluctuating day-to-days. Like if your day-to-day is not absolutely perfect, and even if it is, I always say this, like even if you go to bed at the same time, wake at the same time, drink your fluid at the same time, start drinking, finish drinking at the same time, eat all your meals at the same time, do your steps at the same time, all of those things, which are all going to influence your body weight to an extent. But even if all those things are the same, you're still going to see some fluctuations, especially as a female, because we obviously have influences of our cycle as well. But these are all things that I break down on my MBW log. So I'll just show you guys this briefly here. So this is my log, and I literally will post on this every day. I give an update on, my diet. People will ask me questions as well. And I also will obviously break down just like sessions and things like that as well. But there's also so much on this site with regards to, questions, everyone else's logs and things you can answer. So I'll make sure to leave the link down to MBW in the description below. You can also actually use my code LOS now on the Natural Bodybuilding Worldwide clothing to get a discount, which is pretty cool. So I will make sure to link that as well for anyone who's interested in getting some clothing. But the final point that I did want to make, I apologise, we'll get there in the end, is that just because this is what I'm following in a deficit doesn't mean that it's probably what you will need to. Like, please remember, guys, and I always say this, especially with my stuff, is that I'm 4'10". I weigh 120 pounds right now. I generally do have to not eat a huge amount and do a good amount in order to see fat loss at stages. For you, that's probably not necessary. If you're somebody who is like 5'7" and you weigh 165 pounds, like you definitely don't need to be doing what I'm doing. Like, fat loss isn't about extremities, but in my circumstance, for me to see the fat loss, it's what I have to do. So that is the moral of the story. We are in the final push, but the final push will look different for everyone. The final push, or pushing harder, does not mean you have to remove everything. It's not how it works, guys. So please always pay attention to your needs and what is necessary for you. But thank you for watching. If you made it to the end, as always, like, subscribe, leave a comment down below, let me know your thoughts. But if you made it to the end, considering we are on the MBW page, we'll do a comment MBW today. So comment MBW down below. If you've made it to the end, thank you for watching, supporting as always, and I will catch you all